elderly father and his son might have died in a car wreck. Good afternoon, I'm Brittany Cooper.
And I'm Nicole Kersavage. The Randolph County coroner told KOMU 8 News about a half hour ago that neither victim died from drowning. 31-year-old John Clardy and 2-year-old Caden Clardy were found yesterday in a car that crashed into a creek off Highway EE. The coroner completed autopsies this afternoon. Troopers with the Missouri Highway Patrol Major Crash Investigation Unit mapped the crash scene this morning. The maps can help determine how and why the accident happened by creating a two-dimensional model of the scene. The troopers did not know how long the investigation will take, but say anytime a child is involved in a crash, it makes their work more difficult.
It's always difficult for us, but we have a job to do. You know, we try and look beyond that. And again, think of the families that are involved and do the best we can, that if it was our family involved, to do the most thorough investigation that we can.
Relatives say John Clardy had a history of seizures. The coroner says more tests could determine if his medical condition played a role in his accident.
After the walkway collapse at University Village 2 weeks ago, MU Chancellor Bowen Lofton spoke today for the first time about the tragedy. MU spokesman Christian Basie said yesterday MU could not have predicted the collapse. Lofton says now the apartments have been looked at very carefully.
We have done everything we were told to do by professional engineers to make them safe, so they are okay at the moment. But obviously we can't simply let them set. And so we'll figure out very quickly our path forward here and make a public announcement about it.
KOMU 8 News spent the last 2 days digging through hundreds of pages of documents released by the university about the collapse. To see our full investigation, you can visit our website, KOMU.com.
Pit bulls may be getting a second chance if lawmakers get their way. A proposed bill would stop cities and towns from making ordinances banning aggressive breeds.
KOMU 8's Megan Schultz is at the Central Missouri Humane Society, where she talked to employees who are fighting stereotypes some people have of pit bulls. She also spoke with one city's leader who says they've had problems with aggressive dogs in the past.
Columbia doesn't have an ordinance banning aggressive breeds, but more than 50 towns and cities in Missouri do. That includes Fayette, whose city administrator says its breed-specific ordinance is for the public safety. The town had problems with aggressive dogs fighting each other in 2008. Many animal advocate groups are supporting the legislation. They want to end discrimination based on animal stereotypes. Although it hasn't established an official position on the bill yet, the Central Missouri Humane Society says pit bulls are just like any other dog if they are raised properly.
They're usually big babies. They, a 60-pound pit bull might try and curl up in your lap. Most of them will. They have no idea their size, and they're very smart, very trainable.
The legislation is expected to go to a House committee on Monday. Now, the Missouri Senate would have to approve that bill before it would go to the governor to get approved. Reporting live in Columbia, Megan Schultz, KOMU 8 News.
Union Electric Company and Ameren Missouri Natural Gas customers will see a change in price under a filing that takes effect today. Ameren Missouri residential customers in all of its service areas will see natural gas rates increase by approximately 6 cents. This change will affect Ameren Missouri Natural Gas customers in areas like Columbia, Jefferson City, and Mexico. Residents in Rolla will not see any changes in price. At the same time, funds for energy assistant programs have run out. The Central Missouri Community Action Center says they have 267 families on the waiting list for assistance because all of the crisis funds are gone. Missouri received nearly $3 million less in federal funding from the federal government this winter. Join us at KOMU 8 News at 9 and 10, where we'll hear from a family who relies on these funds.
Cell phone companies that provide your location information to law enforcement may have legal support soon. KOMU 8's Colleen Menadier breaks down a bill that's supposed to protect cell phone providers.
Governor Nixon has a bill on his desk that could protect cell phone companies when they give your information out to law enforcement. The location services on your cell phone can be used by law enforcement during emergency situations. Senate Bill 651 passed in the House and Senate and would keep people whose information was released from suing the cell phone providers. If passed, the bill will go into effect on August 28th.
Army veteran Bobby Bond lost almost everything in a house fire in February. The 32-year-old veteran says the only possession that survived the fire was his American flag. Bond served 2 tours with the Army, spending time in Iraq and Kuwait. He's now staying with a friend until he can get back on his feet.
Stuff's replaceable. you know, but things like that flag are not. I can go buy another flag, but it's not that flag. And especially now, it's definitely something that is even more irreplaceable than before.
Bond plans to continue his architecture studies at MU as he figures out how to move forward.
The mother who drove her minivan into the Atlantic Ocean is now facing criminal charges and a major suspicious accident near the nation's capital. KUMU8 Shane McAllister has more on those stories in your first look at news from around the nation.
The South Carolina mother who drove her minivan into the ocean in Florida has been charged today. Prosecutors charged Ebony Wilkerson with 3 counts of attempted first-degree murder and aggravated child abuse. Authorities said Wilkerson had locked the doors and rolled up the windows before. The children, aged 3, 9, and 10, screamed for help, but Wilkerson allegedly tried to stop anyone from rescuing them. Wilkerson, who is almost 28 weeks pregnant, is being held without bond. The children are still in state custody. Police are investigating a high-speed crash near the nation's capital. U.S. Capitol Police say the vehicle was speeding when it went airborne and hit a tree around 3 a.m. You can see the debris from the crash scattered around the area. The driver of the car has not been identified, but police have reported that the driver was transported to a near hospital. And intense flames and smoke billowed out of an apartment complex in Maryland today. Now check out this video. The fire started around 10:30 a.m. and crews fought the flames for hours. The building has at least 25 apartments. Residents were evacuated and there's no word on whether or not there were injuries. And that's your first look around the nation.
The sanctions ordered against still unnamed Russians by President Obama are getting praised today as maybe the only way to stop Russia from trying to annex Crimea. But Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov warned sanctions would hit the U.S. like a boomerang. Russian troops still have boots on the ground in Crimea, and in Moscow, thousands demonstrated support for Ukraine's southern province seceding, chanting Crimea is Russia. To keep the rest of Ukraine under control, Russia warned today it might cut off the nation's natural gas supply.
Relentless rain has left hundreds of homes flooded in Romania. Romanian media is reporting serious flooding in the south and southeastern areas of the country. In Dulce County, 2 dams have burst and water in some places reached 3 feet deep. 1 woman has been killed and dozens of people have been evacuated. The rain is expected to continue through Saturday. Hundreds of lawyers have been gathered outside Parliament in London today. They are protesting government cuts to legal aid. The British government is slashing the fees paid to lawyers. Parliament is in the process of cutting more than $300 million from its legal aid budget. Thousands of lawyers also held strikes in cities across England.
What a gorgeous day we had today. It's definitely starting to feel more like spring, so let's check in with Kenton to see what we can expect for the weekend.
Brittany, that is exactly right. If you remember, we started this week in the negatives on Monday, and right now, look at our temperatures. We are in the 60s, at least most of us are. Some of our northern viewing areas in the 50s, but 60 in Columbia, 64 in Jeff City, 62 in Boonville, and 63 down at Osage Beach. I think that's a nice warm up compared to where we were at the beginning of the week. Looking at our satellite and radar, we do have a few little sprinkles starting to move in along with a little bit more cloud cover. As we head into the next 12 hours, we are going to see that cloud cover remain as a cold front moves through, and we are looking at a little bit of rain as we head into our day tomorrow, but I'll talk about your entire forecast, including possible warm-up here starting next week, coming up.
Drinking and driving is hazardous to yourself, your passengers, and other drivers on the road, but depending on your age, the risk could be even greater.
It's pretty nice here, but winter weather is still causing headaches in North Carolina. We'll find out just how bad it looks coming up after the break. Right now, you're taking a live look over Sedalia. You can still see a little bit of sunshine out there. It's KOMU8 News, first at 5, coverage you can count on.
You by your Heart of Missouri Chevy dealers.
Well, here in Missouri, we may be enjoying a beautiful day, but in North Carolina, winter weather is causing some trouble. Trees are down due to ice, and crews have worked today to restore power. Ice storms moved through the Raleigh-Durham area Thursday night and Friday morning. Thousands of people found themselves without power, and schools either started late or were completely closed on Friday. Duke Energy reported 300,000 outages with the hope that most customers would have power restored by later on Friday. And we can actually see as we, well, I guess we're going to take a quick look here at our sky cam. Actually, this is Rocheport right here. It says that we're in Rocheport right now, thanks to Les Bourgeois for that from their vineyard. Clouds are starting to move in here to the area. Definitely actually looking a little gloomy out there, but we're not doing too bad out there right now. We're still seeing temperatures in those 60s, even upper 50s for some of us in the northern viewing area. So a pretty nice Friday for us. But over there, this is that Raleigh area right here. They did see, as you can see, that pink, they did see a little bit of ice definitely in that area, but luckily they're just seeing some rain now that temperatures have warmed up a bit. Now we are worried about this next front here that's going to be moving through. We can actually see, I'm going to stop this for you. This is where that front is. Now there's cooler air behind it as well as more precipitation behind it. In front of it, we're just seeing all of this warm air that we have been seeing, but this will move through the area tonight and will give us cooler temperatures and a little bit of precipitation right on behind it. We can see that we are still definitely warm out here. 58 right now in St. Louis, 55 in Kansas City. You can see right where this front is with the cooler air right on behind it. Looking at 40 right now in Dodge City and 31 over in North Platte, Nebraska. Looking at our winds, we can still see this front as well. Our winds are actually going to start to change to the north. You can see Kirksville is already starting to change just a little bit to the north. We're going to see northerly winds about 5 to 10 miles an hour overnight tonight, starting around midnight. However, right now we're still seeing those southerly winds right around 5 miles an hour here in Columbia. Looking at our precipcast here, let's illustrate this out for you. What's going to happen when this front moves through the area? You can see the front right now. It's probably right around this area right here. With again, everything is mostly behind the front, so we'll actually pass through first. This is at midnight here, though. Tonight we're seeing a few scattered showers in the area. Then as we head towards the morning hours on your Saturday, this is 9:30 a.m. here. Again, there's that freezing line. We're going to get down to about 32 degrees overnight tonight, so we even could see a little bit of a wintry mix in this. However, not a lot of accumulation expected, very little in fact, and most of it will just remain in the form of rain. And then as we head into our afternoon, most of the precipitation here will be down to the southern part of our viewing area in the Ozark region. This is 4 p.m. here tomorrow afternoon. Then as we head after that, all that's going to move out of the area pretty quick here actually. This is 1:30 a.m. here. Now I'm showing you this because 1:30 a.m. Sunday morning. Now when I advance this to the next one, it should go to 2 a.m. because it goes in half-hour intervals, but actually it's going to 3 a.m. Now that's because we're actually losing the hour between 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. due to that time change. So definitely remember about that. Then as we head into the rest of our day on Sunday, look at that, 1 p.m. Sunday afternoon, we're seeing mostly sunny skies once again, and then we're going to start warming up from there. 32 degrees overnight tonight. A few sprinkles again are possible overnight. North winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. Then as we head into our day tomorrow, we're going to see mostly cloudy skies out there, and we do have a few very isolated showers expected, especially in the southern viewing area for your afternoon. High temperature right around 39 and 40 degrees. North winds there 10 to 15, just gusting a little bit higher than that, maybe up to about 20 miles an hour. But then as promised here, this is Sunday, mostly sunny out there for your afternoon, and high temperatures right around 52. Then as we look at Monday, 65 degrees, a beautiful start to our week. Just imagine from that point 7 days ago, we were seeing negative temperatures at the beginning of this week. Then as we head towards midweek next week, we are going to see a little bit of a chance for rain as another cold front moves through. So kind of like what we're seeing here for our day on Saturday, a little bit cooler and just a little bit of chance of some scattered showers.
Yeah, and after this weekend, I don't see any more below freezing temps on there.
Yeah,
it's
Monday
looking
looks beautiful.
pretty good right now. Spring is slowly getting here.
All right, thanks, Kenton.
Healthcare advocates are pushing people to sign up for insurance through the Federal Exchange. The deadline to sign up is the end of the month. The Cover Missouri Coalition says 40 enrollment events are planned for tomorrow. In Columbia, there will be an open house with insurance counselors at Primaris on North Keene Street from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. People who do not have insurance by March 31st, could face tax penalties under the Affordable Care Act. Governor Jay Nixon reached a trade and economic development agreement with the Canadian province of Ontario today. Nixon says the agreement calls for Missouri and Ontario to work on future collaboration, trade, and investment opportunities. Missouri sold about $2.6 billion worth of goods to Ontario last year.
Are you smarter than a preschooler? A new study shows they can solve some problems you probably wouldn't expect.
This
Welcome back. Here's a look at your health news. It's no surprise that drinking and driving is bad, but for older drivers, just one drink can impact their ability to drive. Participants in a study out of the University of Florida drank alcohol at amounts below the legal limit. Younger drivers were not affected, but older drivers made mistakes. Researchers say this does not mean younger drivers can drink and drive safely, and legal blood alcohol levels may need to be addressed. If you've ever drank too much, you've probably suffered through a hangover and sworn you would never drink again. Researchers here at the University of Missouri say having a hangover did not actually deter participants from drinking again that same day. So having frequent hangovers, and the researchers say, at best, have a modest or inconsistent influence on the person's next drink. The findings give a better picture on what fuels drinking problems. A hardworking husband could affect his wife's health. A new study shows husbands with longer work hours had healthier wives, mostly due to them making more money. The reverse, however, is not true. Women who worked overtime had husbands with worse health. Researchers say this is because men had less time to exercise. And preschoolers are smarter than you would think. Researchers at Johns Hopkins University say preschool children can do basic algebra. Most kids aged 4 to 6 were able to solve for a missing quantity, which is earliest stage of algebra. Using 2 dolls and a cup filled with objects, researchers asked the kids to match objects with the corresponding doll after mixing them up, and most kids made the right choice.
Missouri lawmakers are debating whether or not cities should be allowed to make ordinances banning certain dog breeds. Coming up in today's talk, we asked you if you think breed-specific laws are necessary.
Coming up tonight, what we learned today about the millennial generation, the generation about to take over, and the ways it confirms and counters some widely held beliefs. That and more here tonight.
Be getting a second chance if lawmakers get their way. A proposed bill would stop cities and towns from making ordinances banning aggressive breeds. KUMU8's Megan Schultz is at the Central Missouri Humane Society, where she talked to employees who are fighting stereotypes some people have of pit bulls. Megan.
The Missouri House proposed a bill that would stop cities in Columbia from adopting certain ordinances, like breed-specific ones, that would ban Rottweilers and pit bulls and other aggressive breeds. Now, I spoke with employees here at the Central Missouri Humane Society who addressed some of these negative stereotypes associated with pit bulls. I also went to Fayette and talked to that city's administrator, and she told me that the reason they adopted their breed-specific ordinance was because in 2008 they had problems with dogs fighting in the streets. To hear more about that and about the legislation, make sure you tune into KUMU 8 News at 6 tonight. Reporting live in Columbia, Megan Schultz, KUMU 8 News.
We wanted to know what you think about the legislation, so we asked you if you think breed-specific laws are necessary. It started a big discussion on our Facebook page. Some people agreed, and others say laws do not need to be breed-specific, but rather specific to the dog or the owner. On Facebook, April Sweezer said, animals that are mistreated are the ones that get angry. People that keep dogs for the wrong reasons, such as fighting or tied up or to blame. There need to be better laws to protect all breeds and animals from people. Another viewer says, I have 5 Rottweilers and all my kids and grandkids grew up with them, and they're very lovable and have never bitten anyone. It's all on how you raise them. And Gayla Datson had another idea. She says, why do people need a special license to drive an 18-wheeler? Because it's still a vehicle, but quite different from a little sedan. Same goes for dogs. There are different dogs, and their owners should have a license to own them.
A new addition to an aquarium in Japan is drawing lots of attention. We'll meet this newborn right after the break.
Natural Pet Market for your pet's mind, body, and bowl.
Hey folks, welcome to today's Pet Corner. With me today I have Ping Pong. She's a 10-month-old domestic short-haired kitty. Really curious, very, very sweet, and really likes to cuddle. With a name like Ping Pong, you'd think she'd be a little bit on the hyper side. She's actually just very sweet and mellow. She'd be the perfect addition to any home. So if you want to learn a little bit more about Ping Pong, seeing what she could bring to your family, log on cmhspets.org or 573-443-PETS.
There's a new fan favorite at a Japanese aquarium. This baby ringed seal is making quite a splash since she was born in February. The ringed seal is the smallest species of seal, and this newborn weighs only 9 pounds. Her fur used to be white, but it's now turning gray as she gets a little older. And although she doesn't have a name yet, she's already adored by the people who go to the aquarium. The baby seal has been living with her mother in a special exhibit area and has yet to meet her father. Here's a look at what we're following for KOMU 8 News at 6. We'll hear more from MU Chancellor R. Bowen Lofton about the deadly University Village collapse.
And a look at a vaccine that could become mandatory before you send your kids off to college.
Tonight we're going to be down into those 50s, although we're still feeling like 60 right now. Then by the time we get towards sunrise, 32 degrees out there. Could see some scattered showers throughout the area throughout the night tonight and day tomorrow. But then on Sunday, sunshine returns into the 50s and mid-60s on Monday to start next week. That's looking like a pretty good start to next week, guys.
All right, and a quick reminder that it is daylight savings time this weekend.
Yes.
This is the one where we set our clocks back. We lose an hour of sleep this weekend.
Correct.
So Saturday night, or so forward an hour. Yeah, spring forward. Set an hour ahead.
Longhorn knows